Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down 3 industry headlines, provide some actual insight in what you can do with all this information, and most importantly, stay in business, because that's what it's all about. You know, it's anybody out there who's celebrating the demise of anything, you got to tune that shit out, man, because I'm choosing to show up every single day, just like you have to choose to show up every single day in your business and everything else. And, you know, frankly, I want to help people live out their American dream. It's why I fly the American flag proudly behind me on all of this stuff, is because I believe in keeping people in business and helping them live out their life just like I'm able to live out my American dream every single day. We got some industry headlines to break down today. We also, like I put out there on LinkedIn, if you have any sales related questions, cold calling, how do I build up a carrier base? How do I get customers? All of that stuff. We're going to open that up today. You know, we're going to start doing that a little bit more often in this show here, again, to collectively move the industry forward. But as always, you guys, I give a shout out to my friends over at VHub, vhubapp.com. Access to trailers, whether you're a carrier, broker, or shipper alike, we all need them. We all need trailers at some point in time. And then frankly, if you're a small trucking company, you should never have to shut down your operation because you have a trailer in the shop. Now on VHub app, you can get paid. Yes, I said that right. You can get paid to reposition and reutilize some of their trailers that are on there right now. And what they're working on today, you guys, is they have Fontana, California to Auburn, Washington. And you get paid $700 to do that. That, you know, might take up a solid portion of that fuel that would cost for you to run that lane anyways. And that's on top of the freight that you put in the back of that trailer. They also have Clearfield, Utah, going over to Henderson, Colorado, $700 to do that. San Diego, California, going out to Irving, Texas, $600 to do that. And then West Palm Beach, Florida, going up to Messina, New York, $1,500 to do that. You know, again, you guys, that's on top of the freight that you put on the back of that. So this is just one way to help offset some of those fuel costs, maintenance costs, and everything else that is out there. Hit them up, vhubapp.com. My friends Xavier Campos and Stacy Steen, they might be in the audience today. They might not. It's Labor Day out there for a lot of you guys, but last time I checked, in the trucking industry, the freight's still moving. And as I've always said, when it comes to my content, if the freight's still moving, the freight coach is still working with everybody out there. Sonny Sharma, good fucking Monday morning. Let's go. You are correct, sir. It is Monday. It's a holiday, and I get that. But, you know, there's still stuff that we can talk about and break down. We are at day 106 of the Freight Coach tally of there being a truck parking issue in this industry as well as a facilities issue. And again, I'm not going to stop talking about it until there's some actual meaningful change out there. And that meaningful change is going to be when I stop getting information from drivers that they're having issues out there. And again, I understand both sides of the fence, but collectively as an industry, we got to raise these standards up. And that is one thing that's going to help us progress in this industry as a whole. $5.11 is what the national average of diesel fuel is. All of the people celebrating the historic drop that was out there are eerily quiet when it started rising back up. So keep that stuff in mind, you guys. You know, keep all that stuff in mind. It's a slap in the face to a lot of people out there. You know, it's up $1.77 year over year right now. But again, what can we do to stay in business? And that's what it is right now. So like, again, I'm not an expert, but I've talked to a lot of experts in that field. You know, it's how do we get people to, you know, maybe not hammer down on the accelerator all the time, running, you know, reducing your idle time and everything else through APUs and everything else. So again, check into those additions that you can add on to your trucks and everything to help you stay in business right now. Because that's what I want to see happen, is people stay in business and flourish and everything else. Joe D'Angelo, good morning, sir. Donald Hatt, good morning. And yeah, man, dude, I love the rig. Got a super sleeper on there. Are you cross country for like do you do house moves and stuff like that? That's what it just looks off of based off of your equipment that you got in your profile pic. LinkedIn user, good morning. Maybe one of 3 people that are out there. Let me see here again, you guys. If you have any questions about how do I get direct shippers? How do I cold call? How do I do any of that stuff? I want to throw that out there today. I'm feeling frisky. I want to help as many people as we can with that, because I know that's like one of the biggest questions that I'll always get is, what do I say? What do I do? And all those things. So we're more than willing to go down and talk about all that stuff today. But in the meantime, before some of those questions start funneling in, let's break down some articles. And again, you guys, it's interesting to see, because I chose this specifically because it's 3 different news sources, and 2 of the 3 are saying one thing, and the third is saying something completely opposite of it all. So it's like, again, like that's the challenging part about a lot of the information that's out there, is what the fuck do you even do with a lot of this stuff? The first article that we're going to break down is from ttnews.com. Driver training programs overwhelmed by interest, which I personally love to see this. I think this is fantastic. Truck driver training programs are in need of more resources and instructors to handle the influx of people interested in joining the industry. We raised pay over the past 2 years. That's caught people's attention, and they are valuing jobs that are providing more now than they were a few years ago. That said Rob Hatchett. He is a president of Fleet Intel at Conversion Interactive Agency. But we've got to have more trainers so they can train more new entrances. Hatchett routinely speaks with people who run these driver training programs. He noted that this has been consistent across both independent driver training schools and carriers that have training programs. There's a lot more people saying my trucks are full right now than there were 6 months ago. That's because we've got more people choosing this industry. Hatchett noted that the influx has already started trickling down to those carriers who don't have training programs but require a year of experience. He also has seen a former truck drivers who still have their commercial licenses come back into the industry. The problem is they don't have any recent experience, Hatchett said, so they've got to go to a carrier that has a training program as well. I think this is exciting. I think that, again, how do we get more people into the industry? And I think, a lot of people, pay is very important. And when you're sitting here and you're looking at the amount of time that a driver spends in a truck, especially OTR, and, the 80 hours a week that they're working and everything else, and their pay, and if you actually do a breakdown, it wasn't that great. And I know that there's some companies out there, again, I was going to give a shout out to my friends, Matt Hero with Fresh Freight, as well as Mike Holland with Great Plains, and they salary their drivers, so again, it's like, and they've, we've talked more in depth. I'm gonna get one of those guys to come on the show here again soon. We'll talk about all of that stuff, because I think that, we talk about this frequently. There's just a massive retention issue in this industry. And I think it starts with pay, and it doesn't start with pay, excuse me. Pay has a lot to do with it, but it also, it's the overall treatment of not just the truck drivers, but the blue collar workers as a whole in this country. Like, we have completely lost sight of who keeps the lights on in this country, who really is the reason why we have a country and an economy. And that's the hardworking men and women of these blue collar jobs that are out there. Not saying that they're the end all be all with everything. I get the total thing, but without people who are busting their ass every single day, we don't have a lot of stuff. And we tend to lose sight of that. We tend to glamorize the other people who may not be doing that. But, it goes on to say our front end marketing activities are being rewarded, especially during a low unemployment period. Greenberg. What does that say? No, excuse me. Low unemployment usually means a slowdown. We have not seen a slowdown in this unemployment period. I can only attribute to the positive public relations, which is always a good spin. Greenberg noted that despite this increased interest, there are some hurdles holding back capacity. He pointed that some states being unable to provide timely testing for licenses, inconsistency in how tests are conducted, and the number of available tests. Those 3 things are causing bottlenecks that we literally have hundreds of drivers waiting for tests. I'm actively involved. I've helped create legislation in one state and try and increase it. And I'm at meetings this week with state officials to try and bring these issues to the tables. Roadmaster Driving School President Brad Ball also believes that incentives that the trucking industry has put out to attract people has translated into a more robust pipeline for training. But another factor is that people became disillusioned with their careers during the pandemic and turned to driver training. Where else can you go from unemployed to trained, licensed, and getting started a new career in about a month? Ball said most schools that we've talked to outside of our network have been very busy since COVID ended. Again, I think that's one thing that's taken into consideration is there's so much opportunity in this industry. A lot of people who they come in and they are working for a large fleet. They're getting in the driver training program and everything else. And then, this is one of those things that like legitimately within a year or so, you can get in there, you get licensed, you get experience, and you get out and you can start your own company, and that's what it is. It's like, it's that path to freedom as a whole that so many people, I think, realized during COVID is it's like, what jobs are going to be there in a slow economy or a down economy, and trucking and transportation is always going to be there because, frankly, if goods stop moving, we're all fucked. Like, let's call it what it is. We are completely fucked if goods stop moving. And that's why, again, you can get out there and get some solid driving opportunities as a whole. It goes on to say that during the first year of COVID, many of the schools were actually closed down. So that could only fit about half of their classrooms. Ball has seen demand for training slow down slightly. He noted over the last month or two that not as many carriers are scrambling to fill seats. Our current program is 3 weeks, and we are currently booked out, Megan Ellsworth said, and she's a director at Des Moines Area Community College in Iowa. And so we are seeing more and more individuals that are coming from the corporate world, which we haven't really seen much before. So we've seen a lot of people come through that are wanting a career change. Ellsworth noted that training program is booked through mid-November. She noted that this is in heightened interest in driver training really started around last January, that the biggest obstacles there isn't enough resources to meet the demand. If we had more funds to increase our space, our instructors, our equipment, all of that, we could help with that more. We just don't have enough resources, she said. And then every community college in Iowa, they all have waiting lists for this. And that is exciting to me. That is exciting because, getting people in this industry has always been, it's been a challenge because like we've relied heavily on the old way of doing things when it comes to marketing. And actually my guest on the show tomorrow, and we're going to talk about social media marketing and how you can leverage all of this stuff to grow your business, whether you're a trucking company or a broker, when it comes to recruiting, customer retention, all of that. So for me, it's like this article, again, it's from ttnews.com, and it is driver training programs overwhelmed by interest. It's a welcome sight to the industry because, again, we need more people in this industry. I'm never going to sit here and say that there's a retention issue. I don't know if there's necessarily a driver shortage, but there's a retention issue and there's a recruiting issue in the sense of we got to get younger people excited about trucking. Dave Dean with the Next Generation in Trucking, like they're getting involved in local high schools and everything else to get people in this industry. And that's what we need. We need that more than ever is we need people getting excited about trucking. Like, again, I know that there's still some hurdles involved with the apprenticeship program that they're trying to roll out for trucking. I would like to see more of an emphasis on training with that. But again, like there's states out there, and this might be all 50 states, that you can get your CDL at 18. You just can't cross state lines. So again, it's like, how do we maximize this and really iron out this training to get people excited about that? Because again, like they were saying in the previous article about people coming into this industry, like in their second career, if they're in corporate America, how about we get them right away and then we keep them? But again, and then like, that's the thing is retention is a core issue of this industry. And we need to start looking at that. How do we focus on the issues that make somebody leave the industry to clean that up as a whole? And that's one thing that I would really, really like to see taken into consideration as we kind of roll all of this out. The second article we are going to be breaking down is from my friends over at the JOC. U.S. transport hiring rises, but not at warehouses. This one was released by my friend Bill Cassidy. He was on the show. And actually, I'm going to be doing my live show from the Inland Conference here in Chicago later this month, September 27th and 28th, and in Chicago, downtown. And if you're at that conference, if you're watching this or you're listening to this replay later on, and you're going to be at the JOC Inland Conference and you want to join me on the show, I'm going to have my mic set up. I'm going to have all that stuff. I'd love to meet as many people as possible. And we'll go as live as long as we need. It doesn't, well, for the most part, we'll go live as long as we need to in that. But yeah, I'll be out there for that. But this article, it goes on to say the wave of hiring that boosted U.S. transportation and warehouse employment in 2022 second quarter is still strong, but it is showing signs of weakening in some sectors, especially warehousing. U.S. transportation and warehousing businesses added 20,000 actual unadjusted jobs in August, recovering from a drop of 36,200 jobs in July that was masked by an increase in seasonally adjusted numbers, according to data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, which was released on Friday. Most of the July's job losses were a courier and messenger firms, which gained more jobs in August, adding 12,300 employees. Warehousing jobs have dropped in 4 of the past 5 months, though, falling 21,000 since their peak in March to 1.75 million. In August, 1,500 warehousing jobs were lost, according to that data set. That likely reflects an industry operating at or near capacity, with vacancy rates in many markets below 2%, and many expansion projects have been delayed because of that. The drop in warehousing employment could also reflect the slowing of inflation-adjusted retail sales, excluding cars and automotive parts, and e-commerce flattening as percentage of retail trade, said Jason Miller, who's a professor over at Michigan State. The U.S. unemployment rate rose to 3.7% in August, still close to or at to be what is considered to be full employment. And then let me see here. For-hire trucking companies continued adding jobs throughout the summer, although at a slower pace than from March through June. Before seasonal adjustment, for-hire trucking firms brought on 4,700 employees in August after hiring 10,000 in July. So, it has dipped a little bit in that, but we're still hiring, we're still growing, and that's still a direct reflection on how the freight market is operating as a whole. Like, obviously, trucking companies aren't going to continuously hire more and more drivers if there's no freight to move. So, try and tie some of these correlations together. Trucking's payroll has risen 77,600 jobs since March, a massive gain that has pushed industry employment numbers well past their pre-pandemic peak. August was the second month in which trucking transportation surpassed 1.6 million. Again, the JOC's for-hire trucking index rose 0.4%. and into 105.8 in August, and that indicates trucking employment is at 5.8% higher than the fourth quarter of 2018 as a whole. And I think that this gain is it's encouraging. It's encouraging based on the freight volumes as what we can look into and take into consideration here moving forward, and what we can look out for. I think it's very tough to look out over the next 6 to 10 months and say how the market's going to act and predict. I choose to not give into the fact that, if there is a recession, I'm not taking part in it. I'm still working. I'm still showing up every single day. I'm still doing it because that's what's needed. You still need to show up regardless of what the market is going to look like and everything else out there. Let me see. And to summarize and to kind of get up in the article, let me see. We're still adding jobs. Jobs are still adding into this industry. Again, JOC.com, and it's U.S. transport hiring rises, but not at warehousing. It's growing. The industry is continuing to grow. The truck driving schools are full. Trucking companies are still hiring. I know a lot of brokerages that are still hiring and everything else because there is still a lot of freight that is moving out there. I like it personally. I think it's a good indicator on what the next, because again, we're coming up here on Q4. This is peak season. After Labor Day, we're going to start seeing this ramp up here. There is going to be a ramp up in freight volumes, in holiday freight, seasonal freight, everything else that's going to be kicking up. So I don't think it's going to slow down that much. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I hope that I'm not wrong. I hope freight volumes still remain at record highs, but based off of import volumes and everything I'm seeing that what the JOC talks about from coming over there about, freight that's at warehousing being at capacity and everything else, there's still going to be freight that's moving. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I hope I'm not wrong, but I would say that throughout the rest of this year, we're going to be looking pretty solid here for opportunities that are going to be coming about. And all right, so that article, JOC, U.S. transport hiring rises, but not at warehouses. Cody Miller, good fucking morning and happy Labor Day to you as well, sir. Hope you're out there enjoying the day. Last article, freightwaves.com. BLS data indicates trucking transportation employment growth may be slowing. And August job increases of 800, lowest in several months. So again, we have a different viewpoint on these data sets. One is painting a picture of, hey, we're still hiring, we're still growing. Another one is the kind of opposite of that. Let me see. There are a few other signs of slowing in the hiring spree. In the hiring spree, excuse me. For example, the BLS figure for July was first reported at 1.59 million, but was revised downward by 300 jobs. Okay, so put it in context. It's like, again, simple public school math, 0.001% different. But anyways, I digress. The June figure reported a 1.591 million jobs was also revised downward by 800 jobs. But even with those revisions, the job growth has been stunning this year. February was the one post-pandemic month since April that there was a decline in jobs. But the other months have been a streak like in the BLS has never recorded over the past 10 years, with gains of 6,800 since January, gains of 6,800, 11,000, 14,900, 15,700, 6,100, and 4,000 jobs before the 800 job increase posted in August. But the increase of 800 jobs is in seasonally adjusted data. It looked more like economists to be more in figure and not seasonally adjusted basis, but the jobs gains were larger, rising 4,700. So again, it's, to me, jobs are rising in this industry. No matter how you want to look at it, yes, is there a slight slowdown overall? If you're looking at the overall number, yes, there is. But to me, people are still hiring, freight's still moving. And that's like, again, I want to talk about the people who are making it right now when these market shifts happen and everything else. And again, you guys can go out there and read that article. It's from Freightways. BLS data indicates employment growth may be slowing. So again, it's what perspective do you want to take in this moving forward? All these article links, you guys, will be on the Freight Coach podcast with the audio only version on the Coffee with the Freight Coach podcast. So the links will be in there, as well as the YouTube channel, The Freight Coach. All the articles are in there. And I want you guys to read a lot of this stuff, because again, like, you can take some of this information and apply it to your current customers, and how that's going to help you win business throughout the rest of the year. Like, to me, I think the freight market is still healthy, albeit it is down in the spot market. I'm not going to say it's not down. It's still up over a period of time. If you're looking at a normal freight market, it is very normal. Like I've been talking about for pretty much since fucking June, if I'm going to call it for what it is, that it's normalizing. And to me, the opportunities are always going to be there. Again, I understand that there's a slowdown that's out there, that things are starting to change, but that doesn't change our approach in how we are prospecting our customers, how we are trying to win business, how we are trying to squeeze out our competition. Service is going to be over everything, you guys. And that's one thing that we need to take into consideration no matter what. No matter what any of these fucking headlines ever say, you can't bring one of these things to your customer and be like, oh, well, this news source said this, and that's why I need that. They will literally, I mean, not literally, figuratively, they'll tell you to fuck yourself, because they don't care. That's not their job. They're hiring you for a reason. They're hiring you to provide service. They're hiring you to provide value. They're hiring you to make their lives easier. And if you bring fucking issues to their table, why would they want to work with you? Because there's people out there that have been in this industry long enough to know that there are market cycles. And hell, there are people reporting on this industry who've been in this industry long enough to know that what this is, but they're choosing to take a different path with it. And frankly, we got to show up. All right. None of this information that we talk about in any of this content is ever a deterrent to give up. If anything, fucking double down. With the spot market rates acting the way that they are, with it being a broker's market like it is, brokers fuck up a lot more in a broker's market than they ever will when it's tight. All right. I'm going to be honest with you. Just speaking from experience, that's just what's going to happen. So if you don't think that there isn't going to be more opportunities here over the next 6 to 12 months in this industry, you will be sadly mistaken. There will be some massive operations grown in this next 12 months. Throughout the end of the year of 2023, there will be some massive businesses grown. And there will be some massive growth inside of the businesses that know how to operate and navigate through freight markets. Because the ones who have been around the block, got to give a shout out to my man, Chris Brewer over at River City Logistics, the ones that have been around the block, who've seen this stuff, they know what this market's going to do. And they're ready for it. They're going all in. All gas, no brakes, as some people like to say. And that's the way that you need to approach it, because the freight is still moving, you guys. And if there's one thing I can rest assured in this industry, someone's going to fuck up eventually. All right. And are you going to be the last person that your prospect talk to? Are they going to come to you first, or are they going to come to your competition first? And that's what I want you guys to think of. That's kind of it for today, you guys. I'll wrap up the show a little bit early today, but we'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. The Freight Coach Morning Show. We are the top morning show in transportation. If you saw value in this, and if you see value in any of my content, share the show, because that's how we're going to continue to grow. That's how we're going to continue to be the most trusted person in this industry to talk to about the realities, is through each and every one of you sharing the show, because if you see value in it, your network's going to see value in it as well. I appreciate you guys all so much, and we'll be talking.